10 years ago, Matt Hamilton did what a lot of recent university grads do. He sewed a Canadian flag onto his backpack and headed overseas. But Matt's trip was a little different than most. He left Ottawa with a one-way ticket to Glasgow. I don't know who does that. And for the last decade, he's made traveling his way of life. He's just published a book about his adventures. It's called Through Travel and Error, Confessions of an Asylum-Seeking Canadian. And Matt is out of asylum now. He joins me in studio. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Now, I was sort of flipping through the book, and I was reading sort of the decision to go to Glasgow. I assumed it was because Hamilton.
Well, the roots are Scottish,
name, right?
Yeah. And I had a friend from university who was from Scotland, who I called up about 4 days before I left, and he no longer lived there. He had moved on to London, so my one contact was long gone. But I wanted to start in a city that spoke English.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, sort of. Depends what part of Glasgow you're in.
Well, I was in the airport and I didn't understand what they were saying. And I arrived in Glasgow with a one-way flight. I didn't have a guidebook. I didn't know where I was staying.
Why a one-way ticket, though?
I didn't want to be set to an itinerary or a schedule. I wanted freedom. I grew up here in Ottawa and went to university and finished university and fell right into the rat race, and everything was scheduled and structured. So I wanted to be able to say, if I like a place, I'm staying, and if I don't, I'm moving on. Okay. And I think that's part of the reason why it turned into a decade of traveling.
So it started in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And we can't go through every place you've been on the planet.
No.
But where did it take you?
Well, I crisscrossed Europe. Got stuck in the Canary Islands for about 4 months working there.
Stuck?
Well,
did you get stuck in the Canary Islands?
I think stuck because I was running out of money. So it was kind of a bit of a desperate point, and I ended up bussing tables in a restaurant that was owned by quite a notorious British gangster, and survived that and moved on to South Africa. And my plan was to be there for 3 weeks and then do a Cape Town to Cairo trip. Again, totally unplanned. And arrived in Cape Town and fell in love with the country and the people, and ended up staying for 2 years. So this is where the timeless aspect came into play. I landed in a little spot called Sinsa, South Africa. Got a job running a pub on the beach, meeting people from all over the world.
A pub on the beach?
A pub on the beach. I was working barefoot. I woke up every morning, watched the sunrise over the Indian Ocean. Life was bliss, and calendars just seemed to flip by.
Yeah, a lot of your pictures are from there, too.
To be honest with you, Southern Africa is the spot that got into my heart and is my home away from home.
So you're there for 2 years.
2 years.
And you left because?
I left, well, actually, I popped back home very quickly. My grandmother was ill, so I flew home for 3 weeks over Christmas, and then took off to the Middle East. Spent some time working in Israel, checked out Egypt for a while, took off to England, worked, back to Africa. I was almost at a point where I was tempted to spin the globe, close my eyes, and stick my finger out and touch. And wherever my finger landed was where I was ready to go to.
Where haven't you gone? I
haven't touched South America. So my timeless trip, as far as I'm concerned, is still going. I haven't seen anywhere in South America or Central America. Which I imagine will captivate me for a few years as well.
Is that next?
I would like to think so. I keep on getting pulled back to Southern Africa. I was warned before I went to Africa that something gets inside your heart and soul that, one, makes it very difficult to leave, and two, if you can leave, you have this overwhelming pull to go back. And it's true. But South America, yeah, that's high on the list.
And now the subtitle, Confessions of an Asylum-Seeking Canadian. Asylum from here? Are you kidding?
Well, I wasn't happy when I left home. I went right through this system and was working full time and just wasn't happy. I thought there was more out there. I hadn't seen more outside the North American bubble. So I went away to sort of find myself, I guess, is one way of putting it. But the asylum-seeking part, that comes from my time in South Africa. So as I mentioned, I was there for 2 years, but they really only give you a 3-month holiday visa. So extending it is one of the things you have to do. And I happened to let, maybe about 2 weeks go by. I was over my visa, and I went into Home Affairs, Immigration, and asked them if, look, my car was stuck in mud. I had a cold. This is why I'm late. I'm a good traveler. The immigration officer said, well, that's fine, but you're still over your visa. We're going to have to make you a prohibited person. I said, okay, well, that's fine. What does that mean? We take your mugshot. We take all your details, where you're staying. We'll give you another 3 weeks to leave the country. And if you do, you're more than welcome to come back. However, if you don't, alarms go off, and we'll come in and arrest you and deport you. And I said, well, if that's my option, that's my option. So took my mugshot, and they filled out this form. Would you please sign it? And I took a quick look, and Matt Hamilton, citizenship Canadian, reason for extension, seeking political asylum in the Republic of South Africa.
Really?
Really, yeah. And I just started giggling. I said, most people, they come to us for political asylum. And he said, well, I believe you about being sick, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but we need something more official. Well, okay, well, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. And I signed it.
He's trying to help you work the system.
He was trying to, exactly. And I thought about this. He probably doesn't deal with too many Canadians. He's dealing with people from Zimbabwe or Angola or maybe Mozambique who are possibly asking for political asylum. So it's something he often hears. And yeah, he was, at the end of the day, trying to help me beat the system, and he did, and I was technically granted political asylum, which according to Amnesty International is a Canadian first. So best souvenir.
Do you think we'll get tired of this? Do you want to?
It's addictive.
Can you travel forever?
It's addictive. There's so much to see, and it's such a fantastic education. My father, he's coming up to 63. I hope I got that right, but 63, and he's discovered traveling. And he explores Southeast Asia, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no age limit or time limit on it. If you have a desire to explore the world and educate yourself, it's a fantastic hands-on experience.
Okay, so for people who say that you just don't want to grow up, you would say.
Well, I mean,
I'm not trying to be critical, but I just know
it's a fair question. I got that from my parents for years. What are you doing with your life? No,
I deserve that.
No, I got it from my parents, my friends, my brother. It was a nonstop. But no, it becomes a lifestyle. So there, like every lifestyle, there are ups and downs.
Yeah.
And this is part of the reason why I wrote the book. I just got to a point where working bars and pruning vineyards and working on boats, it was great, but getting a little bit older, a little bit gray. I need to start focusing on the future a little bit. But there are ways to combine it. I mean, you don't just have to write to travel. There's so many things to do if you want to explore the world.
Great to meet you. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks for having me in.
Matt Hamilton is author of Through Travel and Error, Confessions of an Asylum-Seeking Canadian. The book is available online through most internet retailers, and as of Monday, it will be on the shelf at Chapters Rideau.